Today we're going to do some solar cooking. So why am I standing here by my car? Because it illustrates the three components you need for a good solar cooker. You've got to have sunshine, of course, but you also have to have transparent materials that will allow the light to pass inside. So we have glass windows, of course. The third component is again the windows, only this time they're trapping the heat inside. The glass will allow the transmission of the light in, but it will not allow the heat to escape. The heat is in the form of long wavelength infrared rays, and it is reflected by the glass. That's the greenhouse effect. So as we continue to add energy in, it's trapped inside and the temperature builds up. Supposedly, you can bake chocolate chip cookies in a closed car. But I'm not going to try that today because I've got some other solar cookers I want to show you. This is our super solar cooker. This parabolic mirror reflects all of the sun's energy right to that center point there. And that's where we're going to put our pot. So Ryan's got it here. We're going to heat up some apple cider. We've got apple cider, cloves, allspice, and a stick of cinnamon in there. Now, if we just put the pot in, it's not going to get hot enough. It will get warm because the sun is hitting it, but all of that heat from the pot is escaping out into the atmosphere. This is like having your car with the windows down. We need to trap that heat inside of a transparent surface. And so that's why we're going to put our pan into a bag. So Tracy's going to help us get it inside there. Just like that. I'll hold it. We have to seal it up. Again, this is like rolling the windows up on your car. And now let's see if we can get that in again. There we go. And I can feel that heat already. So there. It's a little after 1. In about an hour or so, we'll come out and see how hot it is. But we're going to have hot apple cider later today. Okay, we're using the Cadillac of our solar cookers here. This is a lovely model. It's got lots of insulation in it. And I started some vegetable stew cooking at 10:30 this morning, and it was 70 degrees Fahrenheit, just the room temperature when I brought the cooker out here outside. By 10:45, it had gone up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. At 11:15, the temperature was 190. And then at 1 o'clock, it was 240 degrees. Well, now it started to fall again. And the reason is pretty obvious. It's because we're no longer facing the sun. So we have to readjust our cooker. I'm going to move it around. And I have a rock behind it to help pull it up so that it's pointed directly at the sun there. In fact, I may even go a little bit more so that I kind of pre-track it a little bit. Okay, then over at the second cooker here, I have some squash. At 10:45, we started at 100 degrees. I had brought my cooker out and preheated it before I put the squash in. By 11:15, it was at 160. At 1 o'clock, it was 180. Not quite as hot as the second one. And that's because it's laying flat on the concrete. So in addition to moving it to track the sun, I've got a rock that I'm going to slide in behind it. And that way we can raise that temperature a little higher. Okay, over here we're cooking some apples. We're making baked apples. I started at 11:15 a.m. I don't know what the temperature was because the gauge was down before the digits started. But by 1 p.m., it was up to 160 degrees in the foil oven, 150 degrees in the cardboard oven. Now, for the foil oven, you see that we've put our apples inside a plastic bag. That's equivalent to having the car windows rolled up so that we're trapping the heat inside. And the same thing is happening for the cardboard because it's completely encased in the plastic wrapping there. Now, these folding foil ovens are fantastic for camping. They're very lightweight, and you can make your own. We'll show you how we're going to do that today. Okay, so while that stuff is cooking, I thought I'd go ahead and quickly show you how to make your own folding foil oven. I have a sample here. It's been used quite a bit, as you can see. We're going to trace around it and just cut out a foil oven, and we're using some material that you can buy at Menards or any of the big box stores. It is an attic insulation. So what it is, it's like bubble wrap with foil on both sides. So a roll like this is usually about $40, and you can get about 8 ovens out of it. So for $5 each, you can make your own folding ovens. You can either buy a template, and this template comes from Solar Cookers International. This is a group that promotes solar cooking around the world, and the profits from the purchase are used to keep that program going. So I'm always glad to order some of my solar materials from Solar Cookers International. So I've got one of their cookers here, but if you want to, you can also just go on their website, and they have a graph paper that you can use, and you can chart it up so that you don't even have to have this one. You can use theirs as your guide. We're just going to trace around this. I'm going to start here and go around. These little notches are going to indicate where the folds are. We're going to show that little hole there. Another notch here. And now I'm going to fold this up so that I can complete that. And then I'll just be tracing around the rest of it. Where this folds, I can put a dashed line. And that way I'll know where the folds are. Another fold here. These little triangular areas are where you can put a stick through, and that helps to keep your oven stabilized. And this slot is pretty important, so make sure that you get it traced in there. And we'll finish out this side. You can see I'm just a little bit short, but that's okay. It's still going to cook just fine. Okay, so we'd finished tracing this out, and then to cut it out, it cuts very easily with just scissors. So that's how you would make your folding solar oven. The tricky part with these solar ovens is folding them up after you've got them done. So be sure to mark your fold lines, and when you're finished, it's a little bit like folding up a map. But you should be able to get it folded up, and if you'll just slide it into a plastic bag, that way it's a convenient way of carrying it. Very lightweight, very, very good for camping. In addition to the folding oven, maybe you want an oven that your kids can make. And the kids really like to make the Pringles can solar oven. You'll need a Pringles can, of course, and if you'll go online and just Google Pringles solar cooker, you'll find all sorts of instructions for this. What we did was to create a template that we laid over the can, and we traced around it these 2 little notches here and here. We would then draw the line so that we have a center line. Basically, what we have is a capital I, and in order to cut that safely, I don't like to give kids craft knives if I can help it. I take a hacksaw, and you can use that to saw in the top and bottom parts of the eye. And then once you've got that done, you can just take a pair of scissors, get in underneath, and cut straight up. And then you're going to pull those out so that you have a nice reflective surface. That's why we like the Pringles can. It's got the aluminum on the inside, which makes it nice and reflective. Okay, now just like a car has to have the windows rolled up, we've got to seal this area. And just about everybody has the transparency film. These are left over from the old overhead projectors that we used to use. So we're going to take a piece of that film and we're going to roll it up. You can see it's going to be just a little bit too tall. So I'm going to trim off the top of that just a little bit. I'm going to roll it up and insert it into my Pringles can. There we go. So there we've got our window that's going to allow the light and the energy in, but it's going to trap the heat inside. And then we'll just use a shish kebab stick, and in order to do that, we're going to have a hole in the lid of our can. Now, if you just take a hammer and nail, that will crack the lid. So instead, we like to either use a hot glue gun, just plug it in, you get a hot tip, you can melt the plastic with that. Or you can also use a soldering iron to melt that, or you can actually just get a drill and drill that hole as well. But you're going to have a hole in the top of that can. It's going to go down inside. And for the metal bottom, you can actually just take a nail and make a little hole there. But there you go, you've got a Pringles can cooker. Really great for cooking marshmallows or little hot dogs, something like that that the kids can cook with. Now, I think the next thing we're going to make is cookies, so let's go ahead and get that set up. So in your regular oven, your cookies would take, how long to bake? 10 minutes. 10 minutes usually? Yeah, we've got a oven outside. I just put it out and it's preheating now. I would guess that we'll get up to maybe 200, maybe a little more than 200 degrees today. So these may take about an hour to cook. We'll try to check them at 30 minutes. And then we'll check them again maybe every 15 minutes after that. And they do get really hot. I've had little kids actually burn their mouths on melted chocolate chips, so we want to be careful as we pull these off and start to eat them. Okay, I think they're ready to go out.
Do you want to grab and I'll get the door?
Sure. Okay, so we've had the oven preheating just a little bit there. We're just going to set these right in. I wonder if we'll just put that thermometer right there. That'll shade one cookie, but that's okay. And it's about 140. We'll check these again about 210. Okay? Now I can smell the stew cooking. And I did not put any meat in the stew yet. I like to wait until it's nice and hot before we add the meat. So we're going to get our hot pads, and I'm going to take that vegetable stew out. I have some little wieners, some little cocktail wieners that we can put in it for food, and then we'll bring it back out and put it in again. If you're demonstrating solar cooking and you need something that's a really quick, tasty snack, I recommend the pretzel turtles. So we're just going to sprinkle in some waffle pretzels. And I really like these because of their nice big square shape. We don't need to have all those broken ones. So we'll just pull out some whole ones here. And this is so simple. I'm going to use some covered caramels. Rolos come in a bag, so you don't have to unwrap every Rolo. But we're just going to take these and press them on top. We'll set them out in our solar oven, and within 5 to 10 minutes, that chocolate will be all soft, the caramel will be soft. We'll put another pretzel on the top and they'll be ready to eat. Let's see how everything turned out. We've got apple cider, stew, squash, and cookies for dessert. The apples aren't done yet. We'll have those later. I like to think of a solar oven as a slow cooker without a cord. Many of the recipes I use are adapted from crock-pot recipes. There are also many great solar cooking recipes on the internet. Use an internet search engine for these titles, or download this presentation on our website and click on the links. I hope you found this presentation interesting. Our goal was to engage you. We'll explore, explain, and extend your knowledge with the solar oven science presentation and your solar oven assignment. Evaluation will be summative and formative, so watch for it. That concludes this presentation. These are your assignments. You need to watch the video on solar oven science and do your solar oven assignment. That means you get to build a solar cooker or a solar water heater. You're going to cook something and follow the instructions for recording and reporting your findings. That's all for now.